Um, so you
So the three main translations.
yes, it's called the New
I've got is probably
New
the
Interconventional Translations. Yeah.
the best. I'm not saying it's great, but for Japan, it's the best.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you think this particular version of the Bible actually can rival the KJV or New KJV version?
One more time, sorry.
Do you think this particular version of the Japanese Bible could actually rival the famous KJV and
Okay.
New KJV?
Yep. So I've got big issues with the King James version.
Me too. In fact,
Yeah.
but
Um,
you know,
so what this will actually be very similar to like the way that it was translated and the people that were involved.
uh-huh. Awesome.
King James version. It will have more books than the King James version because it's meant to address a wider range of churches. So the King James version actually cut out a lot of books,
Yes,
and many of those will be back into this version.
I know.
The other thing that the King James version did is it canonized a lot of the writing. So it changed the style of writing from this is what you should do to this is what you must do.
You should do. Yes, there's a vast
So
difference between should and must. I agree. Yeah.
this book tried to not go down that route originally. I do know from the wiki that there were some arguments over that though.
Probably, yeah.
I think the language will be softer than the King James version.
Yes. So far as I can see, yeah. Since I don't know how much or how well you understand Japanese language, but for many verses on this particular version of the Japanese Bible, it uses the auxiliary verb called beki. It basically means should do something in Japanese. Beki, yes.
Yep.
So no
That's related to performatism, which the Hebrew Bible is about too.
yeah.
So performatism is really, really important.
Yeah, but
It's more meant to be about performatism than law, and that word's really good for that.
yeah, I also find it quite cruel to remove some books like the books of Maccabees, the book of Tobits and those things. I really want to gain a bit of a more understanding of the books that got removed from KJV Bible.
Yeah. Take you closer to what Christianity was back in the day.
Probably,
Because
yeah.
There was a schism early in the church,
Uh-huh.
and it was the Catholic Church that made the largest number of changes to the texts.
Great.
The Orthodox kept them roughly the same.
So yeah, Orthodox
so the books
Church.
that are in the Orthodox Bible and not in the Catholic Bible.
Uh-huh. Probably the Orthodox churches, they managed to preserve the original teachings
Yeah.
of Jesus a lot better than the Catholics. Sorry, I just need to get up a. Sorry, excuse me. 是谁？你好。哦，好，谢谢你。好，辛苦了，谢谢。Yeah.
Yeah, the Catholics really.
Hey, sorry about that. I just got another delivery from Japan. Yeah. Hello.
Yeah, the Catholics really tried to focus on the Trinity.
Yeah.
And that was a branding exercise more than anything else.
Probably, but I have very poor knowledge about the Catholics. Since I don't have many associates who have Catholics, the backgrounds of Catholicism, due to the size of my social circle, I do not consider myself a particularly social person, in contrast and comparison to other, people that I, met up with at the English and the Japanese and English language exchange group back, back in the days while I was still in Sydney. Yeah, but
Catholicism's a hard one to understand because it can be so narrow and so wide at the same time. Like even within Catholicism, you've got the factions can be almost polar opposite.
Yeah.
Like you've got Catholic churches that believe it's a sin to evangelize, and you've got Catholic churches that believe it's a sin not to.
Yeah, it's so complicated, man. Such as they have huge they have vast debates on the topics of premarital sex. In fact, I still can't get a straightforward answer on that, on whether it is a sin to have sex before marriage or not.
Okay, I look at it this way. So I studied theology through linguistics. So I was doing socio-historical linguistics, and what that field tries to do is it mostly looks how culture travels throughout time, and it watches the language, and the language changes in order to do that.
Yeah.
But in one of the things that we can do, that we can also look at how word usage changes in a certain culture. So we map culture, people, word usage like language, and a whole bunch of different things. Sometimes these things will travel together, and sometimes they'll split if there's like outside influence. And the outside influence can be government, it can be religion, it can be so many different things.
Yeah.
And what I found with the Bible is when people are reading it, they're reading it in a modern context. They're not thinking about 2,000 years ago. They're not thinking, okay, what did these words mean? But not only these words, like we have mistranslated them, certainly. If we give the most charitable interpretation to a word, what could it encompass? And what could it mean? Then, as I said, like when I was trying to explain the word woman, we use how we would use that word today is very different how that word was used, and the word was more of a social role.
Definitely.
So if you look at things like premarital sex and anything that's written on those things in the Bible, you need to realize that a lot of those words are role.
Yeah.
Everyone fits into those roles. So
They
if
have-
you're trying to do that role, then that's something that you should live by. But if you're not trying to fit that role, then nothing's said on it.
So yes, they have huge socio-economic, they have vast differences with one another in terms of the socio-economic backgrounds and context, right?
Yep.
Was that what you were trying to say? Yeah. Great.
So basically, what the main, like between the more, let's put this in a modern context. Let's call it the liberal church and the conservative church. This is a big fight. It's more complicated than that, but I'm really trying to simplify it.
Yeah.
So the conservative church is going, okay, if the Bible says nothing about these other roles or these other people, then they don't exist. Those roles don't exist. Those people don't exist. We need to shoehorn everyone into these 2 or 3 roles that we're told about.
Yeah.
And so they say, okay, anything that's not specifically mentioned is wrong. Whereas the liberal church goes, okay, no, the Bible only tells us about these particular people and what they're trying to do. It doesn't mention the others.
Yeah.
So that's the big fight. Linguistically, the evidence points towards a liberal interpretation. But yeah, I think it's always a personal thing, which is why I don't want countries' laws to be based off interpretations.
Yeah, I don't think
That's why I do call for separation of church and state, because you'll never get it 100% right.
No, we don't. I agree. I completely agree on that. So yes, as Jesus said, in the Gospel of Matthew, give what's Caesar's to Caesar, and give what's
Yeah.
God's to God.
Yep.
Jesus said something strikingly similar
Yeah.
on such topic. Yeah,
Yep. There's always been this whole thing
you know,
like that's something that a lot of religion forgets these days is the spiritual side of religion.
uh-huh.
There is that separation between the natural world and the supernatural world.
Definitely, I have.
A lot of church
Yeah,
pretend it doesn't exist.
I already managed to perceive such barrier, in fact, and by the manifestation of of something particularly mysterious and probably also a bit creepy. I consider of a particular phenomena I noticed, which is the disparity between what I want to express and what I've been trying so hard to say. But the fact that I can feel it, but the fact that I can feel it, but then I can't just use plain words to explain it, and that
Yeah.
bothers me so much. And I suppose I can attribute such a kind of such kind of difficulty and frustration to such barrier that possibly occurs, but between the natural and the supernatural world. Probably, that's just my pure speculation. Though I have utterly no evidence to support my claims and speculations on such matter. But I feel so certain that such barrier must exist.
Yeah.
Yes, but I just don't have any evidence hard evidence to support it.
Yep.
Yet I know it and I feel it, and that frustrates me. Yeah. And by the way, do you mind if I record this, because I think you just mentioned something great and so profound that's worth recording and let the rest of the world know.
Okay.
Great, thank you. Great, so I will try my best to compile it.
I'm not an expert on theology.
Well, definitely you are a better expert on theology than I am, because I know pretty much utterly nothing about the theology but the Bible, And I certainly didn't go to the Hillsong College to learn a thing or two about theology, though I knew maybe I could.
Many ways to learn. So, I've never been religiously practicing,
Uh-huh.
and so the theology that I've studied has been through the lens of linguistics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus, awesome. Awesome. Jesus, I guess I have to thank you so much for all the things that you taught me. It really opened up my perspectives, and it will certainly take some time for me to assimilate them. So yeah. So I beg your pardon for not being able to give you any meaningful response at this point.
No, that's completely fine.
Yeah, because I still need some time to assimilate and digest them, so that I can process them and give you my own viewpoints on a later date. Yeah, but don't worry, I will certainly contact you again regarding such topic, because it is a lifelong journey. Both getting to know God, Jesus, and get myself familiarized with His words. It is a lifelong journey, so far as I can perceive. There are we always have a huge multitude of things to learn, not just to study but to learn as well. In case you don't know the difference between learning and studying, there's a huge difference there.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And I suppose yes, nowadays schools, unis, and colleges and a variety of other educational institutions, they tend to create a huge amount of ambiguities when it comes to teaching their students on distinguishing the process of learning and the process of studying, don't you think?
Yeah.
Only until very recently have I began to get to know the difference between learning and studying. There's a huge difference there. Yeah. And while I was still at uni, I often tended to get completely confused between these two completely different processes. I often took it for granted that learning equated studying, but in fact they do not equate to one another, not even remotely.
Yeah, no, they interfere with each other, but you do need one for the other. So
yeah, sure.
I actually see studying as an exercise in language also.
Yeah. Pretty much, yeah. When it comes to a language or a particular realm of skill or a particular field of expertise, we call it learning. But when it comes to studying, when it comes to passing an exam, then we need to study the past papers, the textbooks. That's studying. But usually, studying yields very little. Very little fruits or results that are worth mentioning, But learning does not. The more we learn, the more we earn, right? Yeah.
There's
So
actually a shift with Australian universities at the moment. Like, this is one of the decent things that this current government's doing. Probably the only decent thing.
yeah.
But they are trying to push universities back into being what universities originally were, because a lot of them are glorified colleges at the moment.
Yeah.
And
Especially.
university is about discovery and research, and they're just not producing much in a lot of fields. So I think they're trying to move away from this idea of testing into let's do new work.
Nope, not very much under the current system and the current regime.
But they're looking at changing it very, very soon.
Yeah, hopefully they will take some real actions to address such issue, which have largely indoctrinated the vast majority of their students and the incoming generations. Yeah.
The downside to their plan, and which is why I think it will fail under this government, is
I suppose. Yeah.
trying to undo liberalisation of education.
Yeah.
So a liberal education is about studying many different fields, trying to find what's concealing, what's common across them, and then use that to move forward. So liberal education means you study many different fields, and these can be studying multiple sciences or a science and a humanities, for example, and trying to find common ground between them.
Yeah.
So this government's sort of really against that method of learning and is trying to move back to the style that the Catholic Church brought about, which is where you specialise in a particular skill.
Yeah.
Now, in order to learn, I do think that you need to have a finger in a few different fields. I do think that's a great way to learn because by doing that, you're not just taking information through studying and memory, you're actually
applying them.
And seeing the angles.
Yeah.
And I do think learning's a lot to do with that. So I do think they're going to defeat themselves on that. But if they can set it up and there's a change of government who's more open to a liberal education, then the plan could work.
Agreed. So, do you think I can do something about it? You know, changing the systems of higher education.
Actually, I think the best thing that you can do is, because the people that like to control the education the most, one of their go-tos is always the market. So what's popular is
Probably.
really, really important. So if you take part in free online courses that are tied to universities,
Mm-hmm.
and specifically transdisciplinary courses,
Yeah.
that will help shape the market.
Perhaps, yeah.
So that's the way to do it. So there's a lot of courses, like you've got basic stuff from Khan Academy, but then you've got edX also, that has a lot of free university courses.
Yeah.
You only pay if you want the certificate at the end.
Sure.
Yeah, so that's I think that is the best way at the moment for most people to
Mhm.
push for education reform.
Mm-hmm.
Doing it from another angle, I'm trying to tackle the economic problem,
Mm-hmm.
but that's not for everyone. Like, for someone to go down that road, they need a big background in politics and economics.
Yeah. Some
Yeah, but
Many-
for general people, it's,
yeah.
yeah, I think trying to just keep learning by doing these transdisciplinary courses is
Yeah, because many learners they have huge vastly distinct learning styles, and once a particular training or delivery methods does not fit into their learning style, such training course will ultimately fail to to attain the goals or the mission parameters they they designed. I have
yeah.
since I recently participated in some training and training course designs and development, so I know one thing or two about training, and probably also a bit of vocational education too. If you know what I mean, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Great. Awesome. So, do you have any other questions for me regarding my trip to Japan for this time? Do you think?
That was just a leisure trip, right?
I'd say half leisure, half for business, for information and intel gathering. Because I often plan for the future, because considering my own situation here back in China, I have too many enemies and too few friends here, and I certainly consider Japan a possible location for me to do business. Not in the very long term though. I still like to. Yes, on the one hand, I still like to drag my sorry ass back to Australia, and yet on the other hand, I still like to pay European countries such as Iceland, Norway, France, Germany a visit, or many other more more visits, once in a while. Yeah, considering my own situation here. Yeah.
So on the trip, was it more of a cultural expedition, or were you checking out sort of the startup society or anything like that?
Well, I certainly had such plan before I departed. However, due to my own, due to the time, the time limits imposed by the Japanese government. My visa only had 15 days, so I can't overstay my welcome. So I just had to depart Japan once once that 15 days passed,
Yep.
So I didn't have that surplus amount of time to investigate further into affairs that relate to startups and entrepreneurship back in Fukuoka.
Did you spend some time around Hakata at all?
In Hakata, yes, I did.
Yeah.
In fact, I followed a local tour group that predominantly consisted of Westerners, led by a local Japanese tour guide, and I got plenty of opportunities to practice my Japanese with the local guide.
Yep.
And yes, I also. Though I don't know I still don't know their names, but
startup hubs.
probably there were some of my group mates have had one or two small entrepreneurial undertakings. I'm not sure because I didn't ask them in too much detail, but I suppose I will find it out soon enough later.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, don't worry. I will certainly, bring you more information on that,
Yep.
on entrepreneurial undertaking in Fukuoka and the information about local startup business entities in Fukuoka.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you worry about it. Yeah. And do you have any plans to visit Hokkaido?
Okay, at the moment I've pretty much got the next 3 years planned out.
Uh-huh.
Big projects, so I won't be visiting
Japan anytime soon.
I'll be confined to New Zealand during that time.
Yeah.
I
Well.
have many opportunities to leave.
Mhm.
So yeah, all my Japan visits will be after that time.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of similarities in terms of climate and geography when it comes to the New Zealand project that I'm doing, and I will be wanting to expand that project. So
Mhm.
Hokkaido is definitely a great candidate for that. So the
Mhm.
places that I've looked at outside of Otago in New Zealand, Hokkaido in Japan, southern Estonia,
Mhm.
Iceland in general.
Yeah.
So yeah, Japan's definitely a candidate place, and
I can send you. I can scan the pamphlets, the booklets I managed to gather and send them as many as I can to either via Facebook or Discord or Dropbox if you want.
here's the thing: the startup world is really, really fickle, and not many of the people in it today will be still there in 3 years' time.
Not very likely though. It is a great spot for tourism and sightseeing. To get yourself
Yeah,
unwind after a huge undertaking. Yeah, and I can certainly spot other entrepreneurial opportunities there too. For instance, many locals they make some sort of desserts and they sell them at at those shops, and apparently they managed to make a small amount of fortune from it. And I've taken some photos of them, and I have got a pamphlet, and I have scanned them, and I can send you the image of the pamphlets to you right now, in case it interests you. Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
Sure. No worries. I will send them along. Yeah.
Cheers.
Great. Awesome. So, anything else you like to ask me about Japan, such as Fukuoka and Hokkaido?
That's about it. If you're still visiting in 3 years from now, I'll probably have a lot of questions.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I am already planning my next adventure up to Hokkaido, also back to Fukuoka. Yeah, probably yes. In probably before, just several weeks before Christmas, or probably several weeks after, you know, Christmas or the Chinese New Year. Yeah.
Yep.
Great. So yes, I will be sending you the images of the pamphlets in case. Yes,
Cheers.
after this session of discussion. Yeah, great. So please don't hesitate to message me once you have got more questions or things you like me to know about.
Cool.
Great. Thanks for the talk. I very much enjoyed it, and let's keep in touch. Stay in touch.
Thanks.
Great. You take care of yourself out there. In case you need anything from China or from Japan, I can send you a bit. Just to
Okay.
yeah.
Cool.
Yes,
Thanks.
such as instant noodles or snacks, to get yourself refreshed. Yeah,
Cool.
great, awesome. Thanks again for the talk, and
Cheers.
stay in touch.
Thank you.
God bless.
Ciao.
Thank you. Bye bye. Cheers.